All right, welcome back. Today's little lesson is going to be on solving equations using integers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at these problems. Number one, remember we're going to be solving equations with that involve integers, okay? So the main thing that you want to remember about solving equations with integers is that the whatever you do, whether you're using integers, the distributive property, rational numbers, which mean fractions and decimals, whatever you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. So first thing I'm going to do right now is rewrite this, because I never want to start working from the actual equation that we have written. We want to rewrite it. And now I'm going to divide it in half because I have two sides, the left side and the right side. Now I can go ahead and I always want to start with my variables first. So, and I always like to move everything to the left hand side no matter what. So I like to move all my variables to the left and all the constants on my numbers to the right. Okay, so I'm going to move that 9x, since it's positive, I'm going to subtract. We'll make it negative 9x on both sides. Right? And then I'm going to go ahead and do the operation. I'm going to bring down that 5, and 14 minus 9, that's going to make that what? Positive 5. And then that negative 5 that's over here, this negative 5 right here, we just drop that down. Okay, so negative 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and I want to get my like terms, my other like terms together, my constants. So that's going to be minus 5 or negative 5 on both sides. And once we do that, the 5x comes down, equals, now these two are the same signs. Okay, let me go back to my pen. These two here are the same sign, these two right here, right? The negative 5's, same sign, so we add. And what does that become? Negative 10. Now, we're almost too far. Now I want to go ahead and divide both sides by positive 5. And with that being done, x is going to equal negative 2. And that's going to be our final answer. And the reason that happened is because right here, remember, a negative divided by a positive equals a negative. Okay. All right. Number two, we want to first start by rewriting it. So that's going to be 9x minus 7 equals 7x minus 11. Then we want to divide it into two halves. Okay. You have a left side and a right side. And remember, a traditional rule is to always move the variable to the left hand side, no matter what. So the variable that I need to move to the left is the 7x, and since it's positive, I need to make it, in order to cancel it out, I need to make it negative or subtract. So minus 7x or negative 7x. These 7x's right here cancel out, and when I combined right here, these two, okay, when I combine those, that gives me a positive 2x. I bring down a negative 7, and I bring down the remaining negative 11 over there. And for these two here, we can remember another thing is that they're different signs, right? So different signs, you do what? You subtract. Okay? Now, let's finish our equation. Now I want to get my constant terms together, or my numbers. So I have a negative 7 that I need to combine with a negative 11. And I want to get it away from the 2x. So in order to get away from the 2x, I have to make it positive or add it to both sides. So the negative 7 and the positive 7 cancel out. I bring down the 2x equals. Now I'm looking at combining the negative 11 and the positive 7. Well, once again, they're different signs. So different signs, you do what? You subtract. When you subtract, you always keep the sign of the larger number. 11 minus 7 is 4, and since the 11 is bigger, it's negative. The 4 is going to be negative. Now we can go ahead and finish by dividing both sides by positive 2. These 2's right here cancel out. So now we're going to have x equals, should be -2, final answer. And why is that? Because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. All right, number 3. Let's go ahead and rewrite number 3 first. It says -7 plus 4x plus 10 equals 15 minus 2x. All right, once again, we want to start by splitting our equation into 2 parts, okay, a left side and a right side. Now, with this problem, on the left side, we have to combine like terms before we start moving anything around. We have 2 like terms. We have a -7 and we have a +10. So those 2 right there are different signs, right? And because they're different signs, what does that mean to do? Subtract. Okay? And when we subtract, we keep the sign of the larger number. We bring the 4x down. 10 minus 7 is 3, and the 10 is larger, so it's going to be a +3. And everything on the right side, we just bring that down. So that's 15 minus 2x. Okay? Now, we can go ahead and start grouping our like terms together on the same side. Remember, we want to move our variables to the left and get all our constant terms to the right. You are allowed to do it the other way around. I just prefer to do it from, having the variables on the left, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. This variable, that -2x, I want to move it, but I got to make it positive in order to move it. And I have to line it up with the like term, the 4x. Go ahead and underline that. Those 2 x's cancel out. 4x and 2x make 6x plus 3 equals 15. You bring the 15 down. Now I can get the 3 and the 15 on the same side by doing what? Subtracting 3 from both sides, or adding -3 to both sides. Adding -3 is the same as subtracting 3. Okay? Now the 3's cancel out. The 6x comes down, and 15 minus 3 is 12. Now we can go ahead and do what? Divide both sides by 6. And when we do that, you get the final answer of x equals +2. Circle your final answer. Okay, let's take a look at one last problem for this lesson, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So let's start off by rewriting our problem. We have 6x plus 4 equals -5x plus 4 plus 9x. And I think I said 4 instead of 14. I meant to say 14. Sorry about that. But either way, let's go ahead and divide our equation into 2 parts, left side and the right side. Now on the left side, we don't have to do anything. It's fine. But that right side, though, we got to combine some like terms. What are our like terms, though? We got a -5x. We got a +9x. Okay? So now, when we combine those, well, we got to look. They got different signs, right? And what do we know about different signs? You got to subtract. Okay? Different signs mean to subtract. So when we rewrite this, on the left side, we'll have 6x. Oops, I'm sloppy. 6x plus 14 equals, when we combine those, we subtract. So that's going to be 9x minus 5x, which is 4x. And the 9 is bigger and it's positive, so it's just going to be a +4x. And we bring down the +4. Now we can go ahead and group our like terms together on one side with each other. We're going to move that 4x to the other side by making it negative. And when we do that, those 4x's cancel out. 6x minus 4x is 2x. And we bring down the +14, and we bring down the +4. Now we can get the 4 and 14 on the same side by subtracting the 14 from both sides, or we could say adding -14 to both sides. Bring down the 2x. And the 4 is positive, the 14 is negative. Those are different signs, and different signs we have to subtract, right? And when we subtract, that gives us, when we subtract 14 minus 4, that's 10, but the bigger number is negative, so our final answer there is going to be -10. Now from here, we can go ahead and do our last step, which is to divide both sides by +2. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And x is going to equal -5 plus 2 equals 10. And when we subtract 14 minus 4, that's 10, but the bigger number is negative, so our final answer there is going to be -10. Now from here, we can go ahead and do our last step, which is to divide both sides by +2. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And the final answer is going to be negative, because once again we have a negative divided by a positive, which equals a negative. All right, that'll conclude today's lesson.